if you're working for a company, in any role, you're going to deal with budgets, right? You need to know what the budgets mean and how to interpret them and where the numbers come from. And again, that's part can be very mysterious for people, and people can feel, disadvantaged or hard done by the accounting numbers. And so it's helpful to understand where things are coming from and how accountants do things. I don't think I can understate how important understanding accounting is for a lawyer, right? And not every lawyer, but I would say most lawyers are going to come across financial data over the course of their careers, probably not infrequently. And by not understanding accounting information, they are at a disadvantage with whomever they're dealing with. This is an incredibly useful course because lawyers deal with financial information and many lawyers are uncomfortable with it. And this course makes it accessible to them. Again, I think they can go back to their practices, and when they look at financial information, they will see it differently. They'll see it in a much more informed way. You are going to walk away with an understanding of the key aspects of financial statement numbers. And again, understanding where they come from and understanding what the limitations are and understanding what the decisions that go in to creating that number, that it's not right or wrong. And I think that's the point I try and emphasize over and over again. Counting is not right or wrong. It's judgment. Judgment, judgment, judgment. Accessible, empowering, and relevant. It's accessible because it makes a challenging topic available to a practicing lawyer. So a lawyer who's dealing with financial information needs to be able to understand what he or she is working with. It's empowering because I think it gives lawyers the confidence to deal with financial matters when, as we talked about, many lawyers, not all lawyers, but many lawyers tend to be very uncomfortable with that. So they're empowered to be able to sit down with a financial professional, to ask questions and to discuss the material without feeling intimidated. And then relevant because it's dealing with a topic that they're having to work, many lawyers are having to work with on maybe not on a day-to-day basis, but on a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis, but certainly from time to time they're coming to deal with it. And so they're having to work with getting exposed to information that's going to be directly relevant to their practices. The part I think that's most interesting in talking to participants about is the balance sheet and the income statement, because that's where I think people's eyes get opened to what accounting is all about and how their preconceptions about it are probably wrong. One of the things I try and do is to have real examples. So there's a lot of actual financial statements that we look at. So it's not theoretical, right? I'll talk about something and then say, okay, let's look at financial statements, see what that looks like in the financial statements. Look at the note that explains where the number came from. So I think I use those types of examples to try and bring it more to life, than just having somebody just talk at you in an abstract type of way. So the program is just laden with examples of actual companies' financials and discussion of them. There's the example of the bookkeeping that I walked through that. So I do a lot of that to try and show how the numbers work. So I try to not have it so that it's the number of peers and the participant or the viewer has no idea where the numbers are coming from. I think I try and construct that in a way you can see how the result is coming about. When we used this material at Osgoode Law School, I thought worked great. I think, the students were responsible for watching the videos. They had some involved assignments to do, but we had a couple of sessions for, an hour and a half each, where they all came and, we discussed things and people could ask questions. And I thought that was a great blend of, not having a full in-person course, but having the students, having the opportunity to engage with the students, have the opportunity for them to ask their questions, through the questions I had asked. So they had assignments to do, and I think we went through the assignment. But those assignments were designed to try and get them thinking about the material, and by doing that, they would come up with questions that they would have. And so I thought that was a very effective way of bridging the in-person, or bridging the virtual delivery, the asynchronous delivery with the synchronous class.